Welcome to Storytime with Brigid Dana. The next paragraph that I want to read to you from my book titled Shattered Mirrors depicts a very, very, very abusive situation, which I have yet to come across in other victims. The paragraph is titled The Hidden Torment, Food Abuse in My Childhood. Let's talk about another level of abuse I endured during my childhood. Yes, grab your popcorn. This one is a doozy. I was what you'd call the primary victim, and let me tell you, it affected me more deeply than my father's questionable taste in music ever could. I've touched on it before when recounting that unforgettable episode of food poisoning, thanks to the peanuts. But oh boy, there's much more to this saga than just that dramatic hotspot. I'm referring to this culinary catastrophe as food abuse. Sure, it's not a term you'll hear thrown around at dinner parties, but I assure you it's as real as my aversion to buckwheat. Being strict vegans, my parents cycled through various dietary phases with all the grace of a cat on a hot tin roof. These periods weren't guided by medical advice. No, it was more like they were influenced by their own research and the ever-eccentric Mrs. B, the old lady who had befriended my mother. Whatever the latest food trend was, you bet my father implemented it with the kind of authority usually reserved for church sermons. Let me share a few key encounters to illustrate just how deeply this food abuse ruined my appetite and possibly my entire relationship with cuisine. I remember back in primary school, not long after we moved into our newly built house, my father decided we need to embrace buckwheat in our lives because of its supposed beneficial properties. Ah yes, the classic, trust me, I read an article approach. Back when reliable info was as scarce as decent Wi-Fi. My mother dashed to the local grain shop where you could buy all sorts of seeds and grains in bulk. What a time to be alive, right? Upon her return, she crafted what I can only describe as an unholy pancake made of buckwheat. Dinner was served, and being the smallest and the youngest in the family, I was the first to fall ill. It started with nausea, then vomiting, and soon enough, I was having hallucinations. I distinctly remember waking up in the dead of night, craving nothing more than to color in my coloring book, as if it were the only thing keeping me grounded. Eventually, the whole family joined the Let's Hallucinate Together party. My paternal grandmother dropped by the next afternoon and noticed how strangely we all were acting. To this day, my father laughs about this event, but really, it should have been cast as a horror sitcom pilot. You see, there are two types of buckwheat. One meant purely for human consumption, and the one my mother mistakenly bought meant for animal consumption.